Welcome back, Leo. We're here to do your star sign for the month. Yes, we cover your star signs month by month. The index of this update is that we are going to give you a brief overview of the most important aspects going on astrologically, your moon, and what it will link to you for this month. A brief overview and straight into your love for singles and couples, career, business, education, wealth, and wellness, and anything I feel is key for your zodiac sign. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at some of the 5 big things that are coming up astrologically this month. Now, number 1 is Saturn in Pisces will be moving retrograde from the 17th of June. Pluto will re-enter Capricorn on the 11th of June. Really look out for that one. Neptune also will move retrograde from the 30th of June, joining Saturn, and Venus enters Leo on the 5th of June. Now, the following month, Venus will be retrograding in this location. So pay attention to these key areas and know that these will also be up for review. Now, with Saturn shifting retrograde, it's a really good time to really review structures, routines, anywhere that is, stable or strict or, really holding us down. But it's also an attitude we take in order to be mature with things. And I think Saturn really in Pisces is going to help us. Saturn moving retrograde initially can help us reflect upon those things. We may be very hard on ourselves. Other situations collectively also can be coming up in relation to this position. Neptune then moving retrograde, we can have some really surprising revelations, and we could be second guessing ourselves, having something right under our nose that we just didn't see. So it can be quite handy for us to review those, and I'll try and give you tips to protect yourself, especially for those of you that are empaths and are more susceptible to nightmares, psychic attacks, and more. With Pluto moving back into the house of Capricorn, we can feel like it's Groundhog Day. Just as we're addressing a different area, we're moving back into the house of Capricorn. Now, I do predict there can be some tension points in our personal lives as well as in the collective. So it would be something to really mark down in your calendar and be aware of it. Venus, as mentioned, pay attention to the subject matters. I will mention what area it links to for you. If you do want to know where it links individually for your birth chart, come through, book a reading, and we can take a look at that. Now, looking back at these positions, for you at a very brief overview, number 1 is you are Leo, so Venus is going to be in your house. I would say if you were wanting to make any changes to do with your image, your feelings, how you show up in the world, try to spiritually do the energy on the inside. There's going to be plenty of time and there's going to be lots of changes for you over the next few months, particularly because Venus will be moving retrograde. You are going to be looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly, but also what your value is, where your heart is, and where the self-esteem, and all the rest of those beautiful things. If you are going to make any changes during the Venus retrograde the following month, I would be very cautious towards the end of this month. I would try and pause and delay. More temporary things than permanent things. After it goes direct is a positive time for that. Saturn also moving retrograde and Neptune coming alongside. We'll be looking at intimate wounds. We'll be looking at tax, debt, legacies, inheritances, but also the things you directly can depend on. Really trying to build those foundations. This can be anything down to shares, savings accounts, your systems that you have in your life to get you to where you need to be. This also can be your partnership income, be it it's through your job or be it is from a savings plan or a physical romantic partner. This also could have been a time in which inheritances can be coming through for those individuals if an individual had transcended. Let's look at the Capricorn energy. I would say be cautious with your wellness. If there was anything that you wanted to get checkups with, this would be the month to do such. You also may find you're really reviewing some of your routines. The 6th house is a very positive house, but it can have some negative connotations. You did have Pluto transiting in your 6th house for the last 20 years. So you did learn a lot about routine, the eat, pray, repeat, subjects to do with pets, Subjects to do with your routine changing regularly and how you really stabilize through that. It's coming back again. It's not permanent. It is leaving your romantic sector for a little bit. So it can relieve some of that pressure, but you're going to definitely find from an intimate relationship, you can be reworking the way you deal with your day to day routine. But we'll have a look at that shortly. Let's take a look at the moon energy for your zodiac before we get into your romance house. Now, the first moon we're having is a full moon in Sagittarius on the 4th of June. Now, generally speaking, we can look at the Sagittarius energy as Jupiter in nature. This can be spiritual gurus, growth, media, trade. This also can be to do with the travel industry, boats, space, travels, you name it, that will come up. Now, at an individual level, it can be guru energy. This also will link to your 5th house. There can be a change for those of you that have children. There can be a change in the circumstance. For some of you, yes, I would say there is a possibility of surprise pregnancy. So if that's something you're not really ready for, do be careful. I would say a wrap up of an old connection. This doesn't have to be that it's an ending of it, but it can be an ending of a way that you are viewing, addressing, and dealing with such. Childhood related wounds also can crop up at this time, and there can be a different way in which you are relating to an individual. You can particularly be attracted to individuals from a foreign culture, and if there are any subjects relating to a sibling, this could come to a head at this time. The new moon in Gemini on the 18th of June is going to be a fresh start. Now, in order to have a fresh start, we have a wrap up, very similar to the full moon. It's just the opposite side of the spectrum. This is very Mercury in nature. We may, in the collective, see changes to do with social media, possibly new platforms coming for you, new rules, new ways in which we're interacting at community levels for you as an individual. This can be some new stream of income coming in. Some of you could move to management. Some of you could be taking on a large project. You also could be going for a loan or getting some paperwork in association to such. But I definitely see you taking on a very new attitude where it does come to your finances. Without further ado, let's take a look at your romance house, and we're going to break it down section by section for your zodiac sign of what I see for you. Now, singles, I do particularly feel you're going through a radical change. We did have Pluto moving into your romance house, which can bring the heat up. It can bring that temperature up, and you're going to be very passionate. You're really going to be putting the hard work in. As we move to the 11th, it can be moving back to your 6th house. It's important not to wear yourself out, to know what your role is and what another person's role is, and you particularly could be pretty busy. I would keep your schedule quite fluid this month, especially as we do move into the Venus retrograde. I do feel you're trying to make some major decisions in your life. You also could have vibrations really psychologically in the first week where there could be slight insecurities in the worry wart energy. It is going to dissipate and it can get back into some equilibrium. The eclipses last month definitely weren't very nice. And especially for you as a Leo, it generally is quite difficult for your zodiac sign during those eclipses. So yes, we're in a different vibration. Some of this pressure can be coming off, but we can be going into the dream state and the energy state of changes and transformations. I do feel as we move further into the month, there can be this really wanting to review, okay, is a connection going to take me to my dream state? Who you're going to be attracting in, I think you could become very realistic. You could have some information to do with the loved one of the past. This could be a love interest that you're entertaining. This could be a past individual. That's especially going to become more relevant as we get to the end of the month, moving into the following month. But there is particularly an opportunity here to really use Neptune and Saturn retrograde to see what the realism of the situation is. And I don't think it's that it's not real. I think you're going to rework and review how you can interact with each other, how you can merge, what you can depend on, and really looking at those systems. This could be, where would we live? what things do we have in common? How can we go about dating? All of these things are going to come to the forefront, and there can be some things in your mind, but I definitely feel you're going to be getting a microscope and really taking quite a hard look at things. There's a potential from the 11th onwards that you could get quite tense. So be in awareness of that as the pressure builds, and definitely care for yourself so you don't get burnt out. Particularly, you may find some things cool off a little bit. I don't directly feel this is permanent, and I definitely feel some real big conversations coming up in the mix this month. Transitions and goal orientation is going to be the name of the game, but you definitely want to know where this is going and what part you're having in it. And you're definitely going to be looking for someone who's going to come towards you equal-minded. Those of you that are in a coupledom, this potentially could be a turning of the tides and some changes. Your partner also could be going through some personal changes. This can be financially, emotionally, or psychologically, but I definitely see some turnings of the wheels happening there, like the Chariot. There is a possibility of pregnancies, and if this was something that was quite difficult for some of you, you could find it starts to alleviate itself. Some of you are going to want a mini break, but I see this more so coming through next month, but there still is a potential of that occurring now. I do feel you're going to be renegotiating the terms. Really, with Pluto shifting back into Capricorn, it would only really be for those of you that definitely know this is an absolute no-go. I think this could bring the pressure to boiling point, and there is a point where you will be renegotiating the terms, but definitely looking at your side of the fence and what you can actually do to make the situation better within your power. Again, I do see this to be a time where you are going to need to go inside yourself, because you are going to be feeling, with Venus moving into your zodiac, you can be very ambitious, very desiring to have people praise you, have people actually appreciate the beauty that you are, and not just the outside, but really the inside. But there can be some second guessing that's going on. I would say really journal and write down those things, and be open to the potential transformations and taking the direct action as we proceed forward. Now, your career zone is up for a bit of a shake-up, and this doesn't have to be a bad thing, but I think it's taking center stage. Last month, we had Jupiter moving into Taurus, and this could be anything to upskilling, mediating, educating others, working with children, working with media, traveling to a foreign country even, and dealing with foreign agencies. Really, there's something in the mix where you're weighing the scales, and you could be multitasking and doing quite a bit. Advertising also this month could do a lot better for you, and networking and collaborating with others, but also learning from others and finding really your niche market, be it you're running a business or you're directly working within an industry. I also do see potentials for upskilling. This, I do feel, can come through mid-month for you, where you are intuitively looking at it and thinking outside the box. But I definitely see you in the mix of this area, problem solving. Wealth also can be starting to go back up again. Some of you also could be going through a negotiation, be it you're transitioning careers or you're looking at different ways to actually address this. For those of you in a relationship, there could be some financial situations going on with your partner, especially if they're transitioning careers. Some of you can have money coming through from a loved interest, and this can be ironing out, but there can be a slight delay, I would say, until mid-month. I also do see large projects really coming your way. As I mentioned, there is a potential of extreme spending mid-month, but there's also the possibility of wealth coming in, and this can be after signing contracts or directly looking at investments, but there's a possibility of growth with your income by mid-month and beyond. Now, your wellness zone, I would say about the 8th to be really in awareness. If something's off, go and get it checked. If you're feeling something snagging or something was resolved or results were delayed due to previous Mercury retrograde, really following those things up. I also feel last month it did really put you through the ringer with the eclipse cycle. It did take us quite a long time to get out of that funk. And definitely because of the placements of both Mars and Venus really transiting through your 12th house, you might have really felt quite insecure about new beginnings. That is dissipating as we do move into the first week. And as we proceed further, we are really getting into that zone where Pluto is moving back into Capricorn. And anything that's hidden, this can be to do with your feminine organs. Just keep yourself in check. I would say being organized, getting into a routine. I really feel a lot of you could get quite serious if you feel you fell off the bandwagon and it's like, right, I've got to get control of this ship. And I do see you actually wanting to move that around, especially from the 5th as Venus does move into your zodiac sign. But definitely doing the spiritual work on the inside, being gentle with yourself if you're feeling off. Keep your hydration up, number one. I would also say from a psychic point of view, a lot of you could have sleepless nights. As we move beyond the 5th, I think it's going to be quite positive for you. I also feel there can be some reworkings of areas that you are going back to address where it does come to your daily routine, nutrition, stress levels, and self-esteem based. And it's not personal, it's transit. It's a psychic energy I'm sensing for your zodiac sign. It's not permanent, it is shifting. This was quite a large start to the year, to be perfectly honest, and it really feels as we do move through this month, gaining our bearings to a degree, and then moving into the following, we're really setting the tone for the brand new energy for the year. I would say you're going to be quite social mid-month, and I also feel through those moon phases, be open to any changes, be open to the people coming back and communicating with you, and try to not take things personal. I do feel you will stick up for yourself more so, and I definitely see this to be a very positive change for you with beautiful possibilities for romance and brand new chapters in all areas of life, including wealth. Take care, and I hope to see you next month. Tell me how this lands for you. I'd love to hear, and I wish you the very best.